Hi everyone, my name is Kyle. I'm going to be taking the How Well Do You Know the History of Physics quiz. As you know, or some of you may know, I am a physics graduate student, a rising second year physics graduate student, and history was my favorite subject in high school, so I like to blend the two together, have an affinity for the history of science in general, and I like to think I know a few things about the history of science, especially the history of physics specifically. So, without further ado, let's just get in with it. Let's just see if I can take this quiz and do reasonable, which is above like 70%, right? So in which century do historians generally consider the scientific revolution to have primarily taken place? Oh, I'm going to go with 17th century. And I'm going to tell you why. There's only one person I'm thinking about right now, and that's Galileo. And I know he was alive in that time period, and he turned the scientific world on its head. I mean, I guess technically it was also helped by like Copernicus and Tycho Brahe as well. I wonder if I'm remembering that correctly. But regardless, I'm going to go with 17th century, aka 1600s, just because of Galileo and Copernicus. Bam! Knew it. So, moving on. Next question. Oh, what do you know about Galileo? According to legend, Galileo Galilei conducted experiments from the top of which Italian structure? The Colosseum, the Doge's Palace, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Pantheon. So when I was in grade school, we had these textbooks that were very illustrative, and one of them told the story of Galileo going up the Leaning Tower of Pisa with two assistants, one with a heavy bowling ball, the other with a marble, and he told them, he gave them a signal to like drop both balls at the same time from the top of the tower. He kind of just did the, testing for wind, and once there was no wind, he let them drop the balls, and they hit the ground at the same time. That's not really true. At least I don't think that's true. But anyways, it's Leaning Tower of Pisa. That was a tangent. But anyways, moving on. Legendary story, blah blah blah, was described in Galileo's De Motu Antiquora, in which he rejected. Yeah, he totally just said, "No, Aristotle, you are wrong." The ideas of which philosopher were pushed by doctors at medical schools in the mid-17th century? Ooh, to be honest, I only know, for sure, I'm pretty sure it's not Leibniz or Newton. Bacon or Descartes? Bacon or Descartes? Bacon or Descartes? I think... Well, okay, I can't really remember what Bacon did, and I'm sorry. Sorry to my high school history teachers who are like, how can you not remember the time we told about Francis Bacon? I'm sorry, I can't remember right now. But René Descartes had this philosophy where, he's the guy who has the famous quote, I think therefore I am. And I took like philosophy 101 when I was in college, and I remember really liking what Descartes had to say, and I really liked his arguments. So I'm just going to go Descartes because he's like the only one that I can think of that has stuff that maybe doctors would like. Maybe. Oh, awesome. So Cartesianism spread across Europe as young physicians rejected the science of Aristotle. Dang, Aristotle just being dumped on. Also championed by lawyers and university scholars. Makes sense. Okay. Next, the main royal academies that allowed the ideas and experiments of the scientific revolution to thrive were established in which two cities? So, one of them has definitely got to be London. Okay, so that takes care of this answer and this answer, right? Because, of course, England was one of the main leading scientific places at the time. That's where Newton was. And I think Paris too. That just makes sense to me because you had a lot of brilliant French people doing work throughout that time period as well. So yeah, London and Paris. I think that's a safe answer. Yep. Many academies arose in Europe in the mid-1600s, but the Royal Society of London and the Académie Royale des Sciences of Paris were the institutional giants that fueled the advancements of the Revolution. So, what do you know? Who wrote the 1883 book, The Science of Mechanics, that traced the basis for modern mathematical physics back to Isaac Newton? Oh, snap. Ooh, this is tough. 1883? Okay, I think Euler is not even alive at this time. Like that sounded like an Euler thing to do, but Euler I don't think is even alive at this time. He did not live to be 1883. That's like Maxwell's time, so I don't think he's there. Friedrich Nietzsche? No, he's a philosopher. I don't think he would write it. Max Planck. The Science of Mechanics. I mean, Planck was doing stuff with, like, he was busy. Well, not yet, actually. That was like the turn of the century. Ooh. Okay, I feel like it could be either Max Planck or Ernst Mach. I feel like it might be Mach, though, because when I think of because when I think of Planck, I think of, like, quantum things, right? I think of, like, black body radiation. I think of, like, Rayleigh jeans, ultraviolet catastrophe, and him resolving all of that by just pretty much just, like, fitting the data. So I'm going to go with Ernst Mach, because I think he was, like, an engineer, someone who was a bit more practical and worked with, like, mechanical things. So I will go with Ernst Mach, but I could be wrong. Ooh, yes! He wrote The Science of Mechanics. Many historians now disagree with Mach's view of the Enlightenment from a historical perspective and point to the contributions of Leibniz and Euler among others, in addition to Newton's. Interesting. I did not know that. Next question. When was the first Solvay conference, the exclusive conference in Brussels, that was founded by industrialist Ernst Solvay? Oh man, I have no idea. I have no idea. This could, like, there's too many years here that could be it. I have no idea, to be honest. Like, I'm probably just gonna have to guess here. But let's see. Let's see if I can recognize anyone in this picture. That might give me a clue. I think I see Marie Curie down there. Okay, I see Einstein. Einstein looks a bit young. Einstein looks like he hasn't developed general relativity yet. I have no I don't remember what he looked like in 1915. Like, I don't know how much of a difference it was, but it took him like 10 years. So I feel like this looks like a young Einstein right here. I'm just using some deduction here. So I'm going to rule out 1917. 1906. I think Einstein's just still not like he published special relativity, but I don't think he was like the man. He wasn't like, oh, like people weren't like, oh, Einstein, you're so awesome for special relativity. And some people were even like that about general relativity too. So, okay, we're going to rule out 1917, 1906. So now it's going to be between 1909 and 1911. So this is still pre-World War I. 1909. Baseball fans, that's the Black Sox scandal year, if you're into baseball. Solvay conference. I want to say 1911 for some reason. Like, I feel like my history books I think looking back, 1911 sounds reasonable. But 1909, if it was the right answer, wouldn't surprise me either. But I feel like it just looks like a good number, right? I mean, I can't even really describe why I like 1911. So I'm going to go with 1911. I could totally be wrong on this, and if I am, then so be it. But I'm pretty sure it has to be one of these two. Oh my gosh, yes, 1911. The first Solvay conference of 1911 birthed a community of quantum physicists, and at the early conferences of the 1910s and 20s, luminaries such as Albert Einstein, Niels Bohr, Marie Curie, and Max Planck would present their theories. Solvay conferences still continue to this day, usually taking place once every 3 or 4 years. Dang. Look at that process of elimination, right? That's how you take these history tests, right? You just got to be reasonable. You got to use the data. You got to use the evidence, induction. Exactly. Next, who expanded upon the work of Ernest Rutherford in 1913 to create the most accurate representation of the atom? So Rutherford had the he had the experiment where he shot the alpha particles at, I think it was tin or gold foil. I can't remember. I think it was tin. So what am I talking? It's gotta be Bohr. It's easily gotta be Bohr. Einstein, nah. Einstein was like doing, what was this, 1913? Einstein was still working on general relativity. Marie Curie, she was doing like radiation stuff. Planck, I don't know what he was doing at the time, but it was definitely Niels Bohr. You have the Bohr model of the atom. What am I talking about? That's an easy one. Thank you. What is known as the Bohr planetary model of the atom. I should have just known from the picture, right? I mean, this is a Bohr diagram that is, you see in textbooks. Bohr had sent Rutherford the first iteration of his theory a year earlier in a document now known as the Rutherford Memorandum. There we go. Okay, so cool. 7 out of 10. Oh man, we're getting close here, guys. We're doing well. When Arnold Sommerfeld declared Einstein's theory of relativity to be one of the most secure bases of contemporary physics, how old was it? Oh no. Oh no, this is not good. Sommerfeld. Okay. I'm gonna assume it's the general theory of relativity. So general theory of relativity was 1915, 1916. So we're talking 6 years later would be like in the early 1920s. Arnold Sommerfeld. Oh man. He has like these really nasty integrals. Like if you go into like any StatMech book or, you know, like statistical thermodynamics book, he has like these terrible like Sommerfeld integrals. I think that's what they're called. I'm just looking. I'm stalling, guys. I'm stalling. I'm not taking the test. But all right. Would it be 9 or would it be 6? I don't think it's 15 or 27. 15 seems a bit too late. Oh, actually, 15 would be in the 30s. Oh God. I feel like it's a good time to say it in around 1925-ish. Yeah, that seems like a reasonable time to say it. I don't know, to be honest. 6 years later, you're just at the end of World War One. Okay, I'm gonna say 9. I could be totally wrong here, though. Oh, it was sick. Oh, and it was about 1911. Okay, so I didn't know. I thought he was talking about the general theory. So, fair enough. Okay, I'm not gonna get a perfect score, but fair enough. Because this is about the special theory. 1905 publication is the special theory of relativity. You have to be more specific questions, okay? Which theory of relativity? The general one or the special one? Alright. What resource was heavily produced in European instrument making workshops during World War I to assist with the war effort? Oh man, I should know this. Instrument making workshops. Gunpowder, optical glass, rubber tires, stainless steel. Oh no, I don't... Oh, shoot. Rubber tires? I honestly don't know. Gunpowder, that sounds reasonable, but I don't... Gunpowder. Optical glass. What would they need glass for? I don't know. I really don't know. Stainless steel? No, I don't think stainless steel is it either. I think rubber tires. Well, that makes sense. Like, they had cars. That's when cars were like a thing. And they had like, maybe on the tanks that weren't that good back then. I don't know, I'll go with rubber tires. I could be totally wrong though. I was wrong. What was it? Optical glass. Interesting. I had no idea. Okay, cool. Alright, so even if I get the next question wrong, I will have a passing score, but I like to get it right. Which is true about oh god, Lemaitre, the Belgian astronomer who came up with a theory that later became known as the Big Bang. I don't really know. Oh, right, he was a Catholic priest. Bang! I knew it! Yes! I remember like watching like a video or something how they were like, the first person who came up with the Big Bang was a priest. And I was like, what? You're right. Yes! Okay, so I got an 8 out of 10. Which is not bad, I don't think. I think that's a passing score. That's a very decent score, and I'm pretty happy with the results. So I didn't know everything, but I came away with a decent score, and I think I demonstrated that I knew a few things about science history or physics history. So yeah, thanks for watching. Tune back in next time.